Have you ever stopped and asked yourself, what is the real price of waiting? Not the money lost, not the opportunities missed. I'm talking about the quiet, invisible cost, the part of your soul that dies every time you say, not yet. See, I've met hundreds of men and women who told me they had a dream, a vision, an idea, a calling, and yet when I looked closer, their lives were filled with hesitation, with delay, with stories about why it wasn't the right time. Let me tell you the truth they don't want to hear. The right time is a myth. The perfect conditions do not exist. The universe is not waiting to hand you success. It's waiting to meet you at the edge of action. That is where all transformation begins. At the edge. Right there, where fear and decision meet. Right there, where the comfortable voice says maybe later and your deeper voice says, if not now, when? Now hear me clearly. The world is not changed by men who waited. It is shaped by those who moved anyway, who felt the fear and still chose to begin, who didn't have every answer, but had enough belief to start. And that belief, that spark, is not something you wait for. It is something you build, thought by thought, through the discipline of deciding every single day that your vision is worth more than your doubt. That's where it all begins. Not with motivation, not with inspiration, but with decision. A clear, committed, unshakable decision that says, I will move forward no matter what. I will not delay my life waiting for permission. Because once you decide, truly decide, you become a different person. Not because the world changed, but because you did. You crossed the line from hoping to becoming, from wishing to willing. And in that moment, in that sacred decision, everything you were waiting for begins to move toward you. But the real question is, will you keep choosing it tomorrow? Because anyone can decide once. Anyone can light a fire when the wind is still and the sky is clear. But it is the man who chooses again the next day, and the next and the one after that, who builds a life that cannot be shaken. You see, decision is not a moment. It is a practice, a discipline, a spiritual habit that becomes the foundation of greatness. I have spoken with titans of industry, inventors, world leaders, and self-made millionaires, and they all had different strategies, different tools, different paths. But they shared one thing in common. They had decided, once and for all, that they would not be ordinary. And from that moment forward, their entire life became a mirror of that decision. Their habits changed. Their conversations changed. Their associations changed. They began to say no more often, not because they were selfish, but because they were clear. And clarity is power. But clarity is also dangerous. Because once you are clear, you can no longer pretend you don't know what to do. You lose your favorite excuses. You outgrow your old stories. You shed the comforting illusion of someday. And that's where most people stop. Not because they don't want it, but because wanting something deeply and being willing to become the kind of person who can carry it, those are two very different things. So I ask you again, not gently, but directly, what are you waiting for? More time, more confidence, more evidence? None of that is coming. But you can come, you can show up, you can begin right now as you are, and if you do, you will discover a secret most men take to the grave without ever knowing. That progress is not the reward of the perfect, it is the reward of the persistent. And when I say persistent, I don't mean the kind of half-hearted effort most people call trying. I don't mean giving it a week and quitting when the applause doesn't come. I mean relentless, unshakable, day after day persistence, the kind that doesn't ask for approval, the kind that does the work whether it's raining or roaring, or absolutely silent, because success does not belong to the most talented. It belongs to the most committed, and commitment isn't a feeling, it's not enthusiasm. It's what you do when the enthusiasm is gone. Persistence means you get up when the plan falls apart. It means you keep speaking when no one's listening. It means you plant seeds in a field you cannot yet see, because you know that every great harvest begins in the dark. And let me say this to you as clearly as I can. If you are not willing to be misunderstood, ignored, or even ridiculed, you are not ready for greatness. Because the moment you begin to rise, truly rise, you will make people uncomfortable. Not because you're arrogant, not because you're loud, but because your clarity reminds them of their confusion. Your focus reflects their distraction. Your discipline exposes their excuses. Do not shrink in the face of that. Do not dim your fire because others have grown accustomed to the dark. You were not born to fit in. You were born to forge a path. But forging a path means friction. It means struggle. It means walking through seasons where nothing seems to be working, and yet you continue, because you know what few people ever truly understand. That struggle is not the opposite of success. It is the path to it. Those dark seasons, those lonely days, those moments where the dream feels distant and the doubt feels near, those are defining moments. That's where your character is forged. That's where the universe asks you one simple question: do you still want it? And how you answer, not with your words but with your habits, determines everything. And let me tell you something that most books, most speakers, and most schools will never tell you. Not because they don't know it, but because they're afraid to say it out loud. The moment you decide to pursue your highest calling, your life will not get easier. No, it will get louder. It will get heavier. Everything that is weak inside of you will rise to the surface. Every excuse you've ever used will come crawling out of your subconscious, dressed in new clothes, whispering things like, "Be careful, don't go too far, it's not the right time," or the most dangerous one of all. What if it doesn't work? And here is my answer to that, and I offer it to you not as a theory but as a man who has watched thousands succeed and thousands fail. What if it does? What if this thing that burns in your mind at night, that vision you haven't even told your closest friends about, that restless urge to do something more, what if that's the very reason you were born? What if that's not a fantasy but a seed, and your entire life has been leading you to the moment you finally plant it? Not tomorrow, not when you're ready, but now, when you're uncertain, unpolished, unprepared, because that's exactly how every great journey begins. Let me remind you of something sacred. Desire is spiritual, that's right. Your desire, that longing in your chest to grow, to serve, to become more than what you were yesterday, that is not ego, that is not selfishness, that is spirit in motion. And the moment you deny that desire, you are not being humble. You are being small, because the universe does not reward the timid. It does not expand for the one who refuses to step forward. It opens for the one who steps in faith, the one who moves before they see the bridge, the one who speaks before they know who's listening, the one who acts not out of certainty, but out of alignment with something deeper than logic. And let me be clear, logic has its place, but logic will never lead you beyond the limits of what is already known. Every miracle, every breakthrough, every revolution in history began with someone who listened not just to the world, but to that quiet, relentless voice within that said, "There is more." And if you're honest, you've heard it too, haven't you? Maybe not every day, but in the quiet moments, in the middle of the night, in the pause after a hard conversation, when you see someone else living with fire in their eyes, and something in you whispers, "I could be more than this." That whisper, that's the call. And the tragedy is not that most people ignore it. The tragedy is that most people hear it, and then go back to scrolling, back to doubting, back to pretending they didn't feel what they felt. But not you. Not anymore. Because the moment you listen to that whisper and take even one small step, you awaken something ancient, powerful, unshakable momentum, and momentum is sacred. It doesn't care about your past. It doesn't ask about your resume. It just says, "Give me one step, and I will give you motion. Give me motion, and I will show you who you can become." But you must be willing to let go of the shore. You must be willing to trade your comfort for your calling. You must decide, not just once but every single day, that your dream matters more than your fear, because the life you want will not arrive by accident. It will not knock on your door while you wait on the couch. It must be built, crafted, claimed with discipline, with vision, with faith multiplied by action. So ask yourself, not someday, but now, am I finally ready to rise? That question is not rhetorical. It's not a slogan. It is the dividing line between the few who live with fire and the many who fade in comfort. And let me tell you something about rising, something most men don't discover until it's almost too late. Rising doesn't feel like rising at first. It feels like falling. It feels like letting go of everything you thought kept you safe. It feels like losing your balance, walking through fog, showing up with no applause, speaking when your voice shakes, working when no one claps, building when the world walks past you like you're invisible. Because that's what it costs in the beginning. Before you're respected, you'll be ignored. Before you're believed in, you'll be doubted. Before you're praised, you'll be tested again and again to see if you're still willing to become the person who can carry the vision you say you want. That's the price. That's the process. And that's why most people stop. They think that fear means they're on the wrong path. They think resistance means they should turn back. But the truth is, resistance is the indicator that you're finally moving in a meaningful direction. There is no resistance in mediocrity. No one gets in your way when you're playing small. Life won't interrupt you if you're not interrupting it. But the moment you decide to rise, to stand up straight, speak your truth, walk your path, define your mission, and take up space with purpose, that's when the world begins to push back, and that pushback is your proof. It means the old self is being broken. It means the habits, beliefs, and stories that once kept you small are being challenged. It means your mind is under renovation, and that process, that's not weakness, that's growth. Now let me say something that may shake you. Discipline is love, not punishment, not self-denial. Love. Because when you are truly in love with your vision, with the life you are building, with the man or woman you are becoming, you no longer tolerate distraction. You no longer make decisions based on convenience. You act from a place of devotion. You protect your energy. You prioritize your time. You honor your word. Discipline becomes your way of saying to the universe, I am ready. I am serious. I will not waste what has been placed inside me. And you must understand, and your discipline is not just for you, because the moment you rise, others will notice. Quietly at first, then louder. Your consistency will shine in contrast to their chaos. Your focus will become a beacon for those who have lost their way, and without ever saying a word, you will become an example. And in a world starving for truth, your example will feed more people than your words ever could. That is leadership. And leadership, my friend, is not about titles. It is not about followers, or status, or being seen. It is about the weight you carry silently, the standard you hold when no one is watching, the decisions you make when the cost is high. Because at the top, there are no shortcuts. There is no comfort. There is no hiding. There is only ownership, and ownership is the highest form of freedom. And that's the part most people run from. Ownership. It's easy to want success when you believe life owes you something. When you think your pain has earned you a reward. When you're waiting for someone to recognize how hard it's been for you. But let me speak plainly. And I say this not to condemn you, but to liberate you. No one is coming to save you. Not your parents. Not your partner. Not your boss. Not even your mentor. And the moment you stop waiting, the moment you stop outsourcing your power to anything outside of you, you will feel something shift inside. It's heavy at first, because now the responsibility is yours. But it's also the first time you'll feel free. Free to change. Free to build. Free to become whoever you were meant to be, without waiting for permission, without waiting for rescue, without waiting for a miracle. Because here's the truth. You are the miracle. Everything you need is already inside you. It's been buried under doubt, buried under delay, buried under a lifetime of being told to be realistic by people who gave up on their own dreams years ago. But those voices are not your truth. They are echoes. Echoes of fear, echoes of limitation, echoes of a culture more obsessed with safety than significance. And if you continue to listen to them, you will wake up years from now and realize you traded your fire for approval. You will realize you inherited your life instead of creating it. And that is the deepest kind of regret. But not you. Not if you decide, right here, right now, to own your breath, your time, your energy, your potential. To stop asking, what if I fail? And start asking, what if I don't? What if I never write the book? What if I never build the thing? What if I never say what needed to be said? What if I keep playing small to keep people comfortable and spend the rest of my life wondering who I could have been? You cannot afford that kind of wondering. Not with the gifts inside you. Not with the time you've been given. Not with the people who are waiting right now to be inspired by your courage. Because whether you know it or not, someone is watching you. Someone is learning from the way you live. It might be your child. It might be your team. It might be your younger self, the boy or girl you used to be, still living inside you, still hoping you'll rise, still waiting to see if you'll finally become the person you once promised them you'd be. You owe them. You owe yourself. So don't you dare give up now. Don't you dare settle for comfort when greatness is an option. Don't you dare end this life with your music still inside you because the clock is ticking. Not in fear, but in urgency. This is your time. Not tomorrow. Not someday. Now. Let that word burn through every excuse you've ever made. Let it shatter the illusion that time is infinite. Let it cut through the fog of delay, hesitation, perfectionism, and fear. Because now is the only time that has ever mattered. You don't transform your life next week. You don't rise when you feel ready. You rise in the exact moment when you stop waiting for something outside of you to give you permission and instead declare, "It begins with me." That's the moment your world changes. When you stop saying, "I'll try," and start saying, "I will." When you stop wondering, "Will this work out for me?" and instead affirm, "I will make it work, or I will die trying." That is the mindset of a builder, of a leader, of a force. And, make no mistake, this level of commitment will cost you. It will cost you your comfort. It will cost you your distractions. It will cost you your small talk, your need for approval, and the relationships you've kept around just to avoid the silence of your own greatness. But here's what it will give you in return. Clarity, conviction, direction, peace. Yes, peace. Because when you are fully aligned with your purpose, when every thought, word, and action is aimed at the highest version of you, there is no more noise. There is no more maybe. There is only momentum. You no longer wake up wondering what the day will bring. You wake up and bring it. You create, you design, you lead, and you do so not for the spotlight, not for the credit, but because your soul has made a decision that cannot be undone. A decision to no longer live by default, but to live by design. A design rooted in values, fueled by vision, sustained by discipline, and protected by non-negotiables. Let me speak clearly on that. If your dream is negotiable, it is not your dream. It's a wish, and wishes fade. But decisions, real, irrevocable decisions, shape reality. When I said, whatever the mind can conceive and believe it can achieve, I meant it. But the key lies in the word most people skip over, believe, because you can conceive a thing and still never claim it. You can imagine the life, the business, the relationship, the wealth. But if you don't believe, truly, absolutely, unshakably, believe, you will not act as the person who can hold it. And that belief, my friend, must be chosen, cultivated, reinforced, every single day, because the world will try to shake it. Life will try to break it. People will doubt it. And fear, oh fear, will dress up as logic and say, be careful, go slow, play small. But you are not here to play small. You are here to expand, to build something from your imagination that becomes so real, people will ask, how did you do it? And you will answer, not with luck or chance, but with certainty. I decided, I believed, I acted, I persisted, and I refused to quit. And so now, we return to the question, not softly, but boldly, directly, without apology. What will you do with this one life? Not the version others expected of you, not the path someone handed you. Yours, the one you were born to shape, the one only you can live, the one filled with gifts, talents, and vision that no one else can carry. Will you keep it locked in fear, buried beneath distractions? Will you let the years pass as you wait for a feeling that may never come? Or will you rise? Will you step across the line and say, one with full conviction, this is my time, I don't need permission, I am ready now. Because if you are, then nothing, and I mean nothing, can stop you. Not fear, not failure, not the opinions of those too afraid to chase their own greatness. Because the man or woman who has decided, believed, acted, persisted, and refused to turn back, that person is unbreakable. That person is inevitable. That person does not hope to succeed, they make it so. And so I leave you with this. Do not just listen to these words. Do not just nod in agreement. Live them, because the clock is ticking, the world is waiting, and the life you want is watching, to see if you're finally ready to step forward and claim it.